university, for example. A large university would need to use their Aruba network. In fact, we were presenting to one with Mike Sharwin yesterday on exactly this note. They've invested in Aruba, now they want to know what to do with it to help them around sustainability and reducing energy costs. So remember, the edge is the platform they can use instead of third-party gateways. The second thing is, don't forget our approach on IoT. This is a big differentiator than other vendors, particularly Meraki. So Meraki are building their own IoT sensors and trying to sell those with batteries in them. And we've gone down the open standards route. So we can help any customer with multiple integrations. So if you come to us and our team in alliances in the US, so I'm on a weekly call with our US team that manages these integrations. And if you came to me and said, we've got a big customer, big university, they use Schneider sensors, we want it to work with Aruba, I can make that happen for you. So remember that, it's an open standards, and this is a big, big differentiator. I'm also going to mention how the differentiator of how we manage IoT devices with IoT Ops later on as well. But the thing to remember is this one slide, because this one slide can pretty much cover most of the business challenges that your customer are looking for. And remember, you're in a much better position than I am. So I can talk about access points and switches. You and SASE and ClearPass and private 5G and data center now, but you as a partner can walk in and say, what is your business challenge around sustainability and energy saving, etc., and you can actually deliver it. I can recommend you as a partner and you can deliver it, but you can actually offer a whole end-to-end service. And I've seen this being done in the Netherlands by a partner that's probably on here and in the UK. And that makes more margin than selling Aruba. So you sell Aruba and some IoT services on top of it, you can pretty much double the margin, and it makes it much, much, much stickier. The customer's not going to walk away from you in 3-5 years' time and move vendors if their whole hospital is using it for asset tracking and sustainable solutions. So this slide's really to say all verticals you could be talking to pretty much have the same challenge. We were on a university call yesterday and they want to understand where the students are going and they want to understand the air quality. So that's exactly the same as a hospital that wants to understand how many patients are in a ward or the air quality in surgical areas, which I'm working on down the road from where I live, with a really big customer that's asked for exactly that. So we were at that customer with Marcus probably 2 months ago, and they bought Aruba, they bought the switches, it's all being installed now, and we just opened it up and said, have you got Zebra devices? I went, yeah, so you need to track them. Yes, we lose a lot of them. Tick box 1 for you as a partner. Then another guy stood in and said, oh, by the way, I run surgical areas. I want to have CO2 and air quality. Tick box 2 for a partner. So you can sell them that as well. The third one wanted asset tracking. So they're talking to Bliot. Their new mini tags to track all these disappearing assets. Tick box 3. So if you look at it, we can sell them Aruba. You can sell them 4 things. So it's a much, much wider service. And this all generates, this is ESP slide. You've seen this before, hopefully. You've got the ESP at the top, but now you can see how this fits into different verticals and what different solutions you can offer as a partner based on it. So look at all those use cases just in manufacturing, for example, or healthcare or enterprise. All these things can technically be offered by you as a partner or working with another partner if you wanted to, on top of the infrastructure. So the first thing I'm going to cover is the HPE story, because a lot of you, the reason I'm doing this is a lot of you are having RFPs and RFIs saying, how do we respond? Where are the resources around sustainability? What can HPE offer? Because I'm wearing the green t-shirt, by the way, with the Aruba logo, but it'll be a green one soon. That's a joke. But we are part of HPE. So there's a lot of stuff you can pull through when you're responding to these tenders. Now, most of the recent RFPs and RFIs and tenders I've seen coming out of customers, especially public sector, are having a huge focus on sustainability. So you need to go back with a sustainable response, which I'm going to show you now, but also you want to make money. So you don't want to just tell them where the lithium came from in the access point and how many we recycled, because You're out there to make margin and services and money. So I'm going to show you that in the second piece. But the whole push here is that a modern network, so an upgraded, refreshed, IoT capable network, supports the green initiatives for the customer. That's the first thing. But the second part is that HPE networking, Aruba networking, is part of HPE that's guaranteed to be, or aiming to be, net zero by 2040. So that's a big response. But scope 3 emissions will be down, so that's production and manufacturing, by 2030 by 42%. Now, I'm going to give you at the end all the resources. So when you say, John, how do I prove that? Where's the living progress report? How do I do this? Where do I, how is it made? How does it work? How is it used? You need to respond to that. So I'm going to give you those resources at the end. But now, so you've got HPE's point of view. So this is end to end. This is data center, storage, private 5G, everything. So including Aruba. We have gone ahead and launched and announced the sustainability dashboard. That is a huge differentiator over other vendors, because it basically means you've got two lines to go down with sustainability. You can talk about and show power consumption across all HPE devices. I'll show you what that looks like. So this is the sustainability dashboard that was announced in the news last week. It was funny, actually. I was at an atmosphere and I had to delete the slide because we weren't allowed to talk about it. And 2 minutes before I went on stage, it came up on my Google News feed saying HPE announces sustainability dashboard, so I could present it. So this is actually, if you've got a customer that says, right, we've got data center, storage, all the servers are running HPE, and we're going to be installing Aruba, it means that they can look at their entire carbon emissions, energy consumption, and cost across their whole HPE infrastructure. So they can do this example, so power consumption over time. What we're doing at Aruba is we're going to be injecting Aruba's data, energy consumption data, in November this year, but we're also launching extra functionality in the APs in 257, things like reducing energy when the access point's not used. So an access point energy consumption would go from, say, 15 watts powered on at night in a big university with no students in there. No one's using it, but so it will drop into sleep mode, which will be 3 watts. Then you can use sustainability dashboard to actually show that, and the customer can show that. Now, the reason this is important is that there's lots of different regulations, which I'll go through coming, where your customers are going to have to show how they're reducing their carbon footprint, but also what IT is consuming. IT consumes around 11 to 18% of power consumption from a real estate platform. So say a bank. So in a big bank's headquarters, IT generates about 11 to 18%. So you can save them a lot of money. The other thing is that HPE offers a lot of sustainability services. Now, I haven't got 2 hours to walk through all of this. We've got a team. Kareem Abu, for example, looks after sustainability in EMEA. That's probably him messaging me. And you can see all the different services that you've got available to you. So you've got these different strategy workshops. You've got sustainable data center services. So looking at water usage, water recycling, certifications. We've got all that running in Geneva, by the way, which I'll tell you at the end. You've got the Green Lake side, which includes that sustainability dashboard as a service. So you can offer that as a service and wrap all of Aruba infrastructure and central licenses into Green Lake with it, which looks pretty good when you're responding to an RFI. And then as results, you can get the equipment efficiency, the energy efficiency, where the energy is coming from, the workloads, and how to recommend improving utilization. But that is a whole different orange we maybe have to do in the future to walk you through that. And I'm going to give you the resources at the end. But what can you sell today? So, okay, so you've got tools I'm going to give you to respond to the HPE sustainability story, but what can you actually sell today? Because this is what I would be doing if I was you, from a revenue perspective. So, as you know, IoT is made up of things and data and applications. So the things could be anything. A Zebra device needs tracking. Most likely with sustainability, it's room-based occupancy or CO2, air quality, power management solutions. So remember the first slide. So Aruba is the connectivity layer that's connecting the application to the things. And a lot of you, and I think what happened over the last few years when we've talked about this is that we could always connect the things, but there wasn't a data visualization platform at the end of it. So a lot of you would say, yeah, John, okay, we've got EnOcean sensors or something like that, or Honeywell or Minu or something. But then we want to visualize that data, and that's always been the roadblock. So the three things you've got to go on now are in front of your customer. You can use a little interesting stats like their real estate generates more carbon dioxide than cars. And that's a really big, big thing. So you imagine 40% of global carbon dioxide emissions are coming from real estate, and everyone's talking about buying electric cars. So this is the first thing. So the regulators in Europe are going to force businesses to reduce energy consumption. That's things like Germany have done with DAC Energy 19. So they cannot heat a real estate building for more than 19 degrees. BACS is coming, Building Automation Control System regulation. So in 2025, all of your customers will have to prove and show their carbon dioxide usage, but also how they're reducing that. So all of these are reasons for you to go in and say, okay, you've got your Aruba infrastructure that's already plugged in, it's already PoE powered. It's basically an existing infrastructure that we can use for all of your solutions, so sensors, signage, asset tracking. Now, I'm going to give you an interesting statistic here. We're working on a big academy in London. That academy wanted to replace 791 wired sensors. That means that that building, that school, an academy in the UK is like a very big college, that they would have to replace 791 PoE points, which you're probably thinking is great as a partner. In the old days, you could say that was great, but now it's using steel, plastic, resources, copper. All of these things are now in RFIs. So if you could guess, I haven't got long to actually get the answer, so I'll have to tell you the answer. But it was actually 5 kilometers of cabling would need to be done for those 791 sensors. So we've gone back and said, you don't need any cable, you don't need any power, you don't need any batteries. The whole thing can be done through the Aruba infrastructure, and it saved them 5 kilometers of steel and plastic. So you put that in an RFI compared to like a VergeSense PoE sensor, and it massively improves you. So it reduces about 90% of connectivity cost. Cabling alone is 65% in that example I just gave you. So you can use, this is just one example, and I hope all of you have seen this one before. This is my favorite because EnOcean are the world's leader in sustainable IoT. We've run sessions in Geneva with EnOcean. Their background has, Armin and Raul founded it 25 years ago, have always been passionate about the planet and sustainable solutions. It gives you that power over Meraki. When Meraki stand in a room with a sensor like this, that's an MT10 Meraki sensor that has 2 whacking great big Duracell batteries in it that last about 4 months, you blow them out of the water. They just can't compete. So that's also linked very heavily into Azure. So I always walk into a customer meeting and say, do you use Azure? If it's a yes, we're the only vendor that has a connectivity platform that connects into Azure IoT. So that's giving you the infrastructure, the connection layer, the sustainable solution, and it pulls in Microsoft. And you can even use Microsoft salespeople to come with you to give you an extra bit of clout, especially if you're already a Microsoft partner. So some of you on this call I've spoken to have already got an Azure business in your reseller or in your distributor. So use that, because this generates Azure revenue. So your Azure business are going to love this as well. So then what we have on top of this? So what do Aruba make? So the difference there is obviously the connectivity layer, but we also have this IoT ops, and this is very unique in the business as well. So this means you can deploy, say, an IoT range of sensors and manage it in your own app store inside Central. And what's really interesting is in the past, so we're talking like 6 months ago, you'd have to connect all of these things inside Central with a virtual machine called an Aruba IoT connector. That had to be a VM, so you'd have to put it in a gateway or a Docker container or somewhere else, which slowed down deployment. But now in 257, that's actually automated within the AP in AOS 10 only. So this suddenly gives you an easy to build managed service, a reason to upsell to AOS 10, and it gives you somewhere you can actually manage your customers as a service and literally click, right, they've got Flyout asset tags or Inocean sensors, click it there and connect it. So the benefits of that, IoT integration drops below an hour from 3 to 6 months because everything's connected over the wireless. You as resellers can connect faster, and you can deploy IoT operations in the Azure marketplace. Now, I've put a little QR code at the end of this presentation for you to scan, so we'll try and leave it up as long as it's possible, Edward. That's got all that information in it. Where can I download it from? How do I buy a starter kit? Everything like that. So the solutions you talk about are things just have this one slide up. If the windows are open, why is the aircon on? If the meeting room's empty or not being used, why are the lights on? Why is it 24 degrees? All of those things means you can walk in and say, okay, we can offer, with this example of Inocean, occupancy, air quality, I won't read them all out for you, but you can offer all of these services just on the left. So I normally sit in a customer meeting and get very annoying because the Aruba sales guys want to talk about SASE and things like that. And I'm going, how do you monitor air quality? Because you can pull in another business silo. This hospital we're talking to, the guy that's actually pushing for this is something to do with health and safety consultant management. He's nothing to do with IT, but he's the one pushing. And that push from another business silo could refresh AOS 10 or APs even. So what can you sell today? You can build your own platform, like a couple of you have done on this call. I won't name them. But a couple of you have thought, okay, we've got developers in-house, so we can build this ourselves. And you have, and it's a brilliant idea. Some of you haven't got developers in-house. So there's a platform in the Nordics called Inspari that actually pulls through Inocean sensors, Aruba location engine, and then this gets really interesting with OpenLocate. So we're working with them very closely this week, actually, around OpenLocate. So we can, if you see on this little page, I haven't got time to demo, but you can see a button called Occupancy. At the moment, Occupancy uses a sensor and shows you if someone's in that room or not. What we're doing with Occupancy is linking it to the streaming API in Central, sorry, cough, to show a heat map of how people are using the building as well. So all of a sudden, you've got one platform with thousands of integrations that links into building management systems and even shows where the energy is coming from. So you can plug it into a smart meter and a customer, and they can even show we use that much CO2 production, but 11% of our energy, or 3.6% in this case, was coming from natural gas, but some was coming from solar and offshore wind. If you look at this, it's Copenhagen, it's 23% offshore wind. So I hope that's given you a bit of background. This is just an example from a white paper. I'm actually working on a new one from a win we've just done in Germany, so that should be out in a few weeks. But this is Credit Agricole. That's a perfect example where the customer said we need to free up 20% more workspace. We can't build another building. We need to make it more efficient. And this is a link down the bottom there where we've done exactly that. I've only got literally a couple of slides left, but I want to mention Geneva because Geneva isn't just an Aruba lab. Geneva has an amazing data center that is cooled and cooled by water, and then that water is recycled as heated water that's used for hot water in the building. There's also a load of other sustainability solutions going on in the data center. And we're putting in more and more and more in-ocean sensors so we can monitor it. In fact, we had a bit of an accident with some sprinklers last week in the Geneva lab, and a couple of servers got wet. And you could actually see it in our IoT dashboard with the temperature fluctuation and everything, humidity going up. So it's really interesting. But the fact is you can use this remotely. We can run workshops, which we did for one of you partners on here, and we can, in September, October, November, be running some vertical based. So you guys bring a few hospitals, and then we bring a few retailers and some banks to all talk together and show, and I'll be there walking through exactly this. Now I've got about 3 minutes left, so I just wanted to show you this slide, which I'll leave up as long as possible, because this is our Guido and I have a colleague, Richard, that you all know, and he's actually built this into QR links for you. So you've got QR links, you've got Living Progress Report, which is a brand new one that's just come out, the Living Progress Report from 2022 as well, the environmental declaration, so ROHS, IT declarations on ecology, policies and standards, so supplier codes, everything that you need for RFIs is in this one thing. It's probably worth taking a screen grab. And then you've got this contact, this new contact, which is sustainability@hpe.com. And that goes to our team, and they can help you with that progress offering, or maybe we do another Go Orange on just walking through what that is, what services we can offer. Now, I'll hand that to Edward, but on the end, on the thank you slide, there's 2 QR codes. The left one, you don't worry about, that's my LinkedIn profile. That's when I'm doing this to customers. But the right one that says scan me is everything I've said about InOcean, the download links, the contacts for you to buy a starter kit, everything's in there like a PDF. So it downloads a PDF. But on that note, I think we have 1 minute, maybe 2. I'll hand over to Edward.
Well, thank you very much, John. Very exciting to hear about sustainability with Aruba, as well as with our partners and the value it is bringing to our partners. Very good. So again, to all the partners on the call, please have your phone ready to scan the QR code, which we will show on the next slide. Before heading into that one, as mentioned at the beginning of the call, this presentation has been recorded. It will be available on the Partner Ready for Aruba portal very soon, within the next 72 hours. And you will receive a link or an email with the link and the slides to get access to that one. You can also have a look at the previous sessions, which are all listed in there. And as we did put it in the chat at the beginning of the call, please take a note to look at the next sessions. We do encourage you to register for these sessions, and especially the one on the 12th of July. It is about fueling your pipeline, because that will generate new business. Then we will have an Aruba SSE training on the 19th of July, as well as on the 9th of August. These are similar sessions which we want to repeat, given the vacation break, where many countries are already on vacation or just returning from vacation. And with that, Kelly has just launched the poll. We encourage you to fill in the poll. This will help us to better frame and build our sessions moving forward. So thank you for filling in the poll. And again, John has now been putting up the last slide. Please scan at the right, the scan for the starter kit, where you can all find the demos, where you can find the download material. So please use this. It will be very beneficial. And if needed, on the left side, this is John's profile. If you have a question to John and you want to have a look at it, also encourage you to take that one. And with that, we are on top of the hour with this session. I would like to thank all the partners who have attended this session. We hope you find it very beneficial for your business, and we hope to talk to you next time. Thank you, John, and thank you, Kelly,
Thanks, everyone.
the post.